Hey, welcome back to my channel. This is Aaron from GTAO VLOGS. Got a little bit of a fun trip planned here. I'm out in a pretty fascinating area. I've been out here many times before, done quite a bit of prospecting, primarily with my dry washer out here. So I'm here now, it's in the afternoon. I'm going to be doing some dry washing and I'm going to show you some panning. I'm going to do some gold panning and use my water, and I'll show you what we find. So hope you enjoy. Thanks for coming along, and talk to y'all soon. All right, I got a little rundown here real quick of just a really bare bones gear for dry washing for placer gold. I've got everything laid out because I'm carrying it up the side of the hill here away from my car. You can see here I've got a canteen of water, dust mask. A lot of times in these places, if there's no wind, you need a dust mask so you can avoid valley fever. You can look that up on the internet. Valley fever is a real problem in some of these areas. This is an N95 or better rated mask. I got a little brush here which I use to clean the riffle tray out. When I'm cleaning the riffle tray out, the bucket is for the concentrates. Regular shovel. I got a metal handle classifier, gas blower, gas leaf blower. I got a hat for the sun. There's the dry washer, and I've got my gloves. So that's all the basic gear, just the real basics. I'm going to get started and I'll get back with you guys. All right, thanks a lot. All right, I'm up here. You can see there's quite an interesting bit of geology in this area. It's an ancient riverbed that has been uplifted over, I don't know, 50 million years, and simultaneously as it's been uplifted, it's been eroded down. This particular ancient riverbed, you can see there's a lot of white quartz, there's a lot of river cobble, there's a lot of angular stone. It's quite a cornucopia of geological specimens. I'm going to be working right in this area here. There's a little bit of a gully right here, and on a previous trip I already dry washed from here over and up this way. This whole little gully right here I dry washed on a previous trip, and then I restored my work, so it's kind of hard to tell where I worked, but I remember it pretty darn well. So all this has been dry washed by me, but I didn't dry wash this lower section down here. So I'm going to dry wash this lower section right here. I got some of the gear up here already. I'm going to go get the dry washer and the shovel and get started right in this area here. All right, more to come. All right. Got about took about 35 minutes to get everything up here set up. I got the gas blower set up so that it's in between some rocks so it doesn't vibrate around and go all over the place. Dry washer set up where I want it. Basically what I'm fairly confident of is that this little depression right here that you see, because I've already dry washed up the gully from that, and I found some pretty nice gold. Found a couple nice pieces in that material from up there. So I am, and there's no tailings off to the side of either one of these of this little gully right here. So I'm fairly confident that this has not been mined previously. So I'm gonna, from right here, I'm gonna run my dry washer right up the gully here. And the reason I'm starting down at the bottom is that as I progress up the gully, I will then start dumping my tailings where I've already been digging. So as I move up the gully, my tailings will be filling in behind my machine, more or less. So that's the goal right now. I'm going to be running a few runs with the dry washer, and then I'm going to go down to the truck and pan out, do a little bit of panning to see what we've got so far. So I'll check in a little while. All right, have a good one, everybody. Alright, so what we're kind of doing here is we're using the hopper. We've got a multiple number of different ages of material in that hopper. You've got organics, and you've got the cobble, the river agate, the white quartz, the larger stones. And what the idea here on the grizzly of the dry washer grizzly is sort of let the material rub against each other and itself and on that grizzly, and you're sort of grinding the material, cleaning off the loose clay and dirt, breaking it up, using the material against the material, and also the material against the grate, the grizzly, to bust it up and clean it. So you really are dry washing the material. See all that organic matter right there? It's pretty free of dirt now. That allows the oversize to come off the top, and all of the undersize, all of the -3/8 to go down into the dry washer. And the heavier elements compete with the lighter elements. The lighter elements get kicked out, the heavier elements remain in the tray. The riffle tray, that's what this is here, that's the riffle tray. So this area here, you can see there's the first run. All of that material is that's all the waste, and that's all the waste up there, the oversize. So what we've got going on here is what I believe is an ancient river. This is an ancient river channel that has been uplifted and then simultaneously and subsequently eroded down over tens of millions of years, for sure. And so what we've got here, in my opinion, is there's a reddish layer down here, which I believe is the old river bottom. And I've sampled this area quite a bit in the past. I've tested it. I've tested this layer. I've tested the red layer. I've dug below the red layer. I've tested below the red layer. And I've also tested, of course, from the red layer up. And from the red layer up is where you find all of this broken up larger cobblestone. It's a mixture. There's angular and there's water-worn river cobble, like this and like this. And then you've got angular stone that's not water-worn at all. It doesn't appear. So there's a mixture of stones. That's the layer that's on top of this red river bottom. And then also there's some larger ones too. Some larger stones that are in that layer. It's about the top 6 inches. And then of course there's millions of years of organic matter from the plant life that has existed here for millions and tens of millions of years. So that's what you have in this particular location. In my opinion, you've got ancient river bottom. It's been uplifted. It's been eroded over the tens of millions of years. And then all at the same time, there's been organics growing here. And what you do when you're putting it through the dry washer is you're running all of that material through the dry washer, and you're collecting the heavy elements. And so that's what we got going right there. So that's the first run. I'm going to do another run or maybe 2 more runs, and then I'm going to do a panning down at the truck. So, all right, more later. Okay, last but not least, I got the excavation raked. I raked the fine material from the bottom up here, so it'll go in the next run, the dry washer. But I like to, when I can, I like to go over the bottom of the hole, the bottom of the dig, whether it's on an old ancient riverbed like this, or out in the desert on caliche, or on bedrock. I like to go over with the metal detector. I found gold 3 times with my metal detector, and every one of those times it was in this kind of situation where I had already removed all the surface material, and I was able to detect on that virgin ground down there. Okay, I'm going to move the machine up and start on the next section. More later. Also, it's a good idea to take the header pile from your dry washing and kick it down, kick it so that it's flat, and then go over your header pile. I don't really anticipate that there's any gold this size on this location, because the largest gold that I've ever found here was like the size of a Rice Krispie flattened. A little flattened Rice Krispie. Nice piece of gold, but it was nothing like this. But it depends on the area that you're in, and it's always a good practice, if you got a detector, to go over your header pile, knock down your header pile and go over that to look for any large gold, especially if you're in the right kind of area, that didn't go through the screen. And that, like, this looks like it's a hot rock. This looks like a hot rock right here. So there's hot rocks here. And anyway, I just wanted to show you that it's a good idea to knock down your header pile and go over that with the detector. Sometimes you might even rake it out real fine. It depends on the area you're in again. If you're finding nuggets that size, should be a red flag going up to make sure that you're real careful. Okay, I'm moving the machine up. Get started on the next area. All right, got run number 2 done. What I wanted to just show you is that I cleaned out right here. This is the bottom. This is the bottom of the gully. So that's what I'm following. It kind of curves off to the left here a little bit. So I'm following that. I've cleaned out that section right there. You can see there's the header pile, there's the tailing pile, and I've moved the machine up now to the next section. So when you do that, when you go from the bottom uphill, it works out great, because your tailings are now backfilling your work. So when it comes time to actually flattening out the work and making it look, more or less disturbed, then it's real easy, because I'll have backfilled my work all the way up. So run number 2's done. I'm going to go ahead and set up the panning equipment so I can pan one of these out before it gets too dark. Got a couple bags of concentrates here. I'm going to go ahead and set the panning tub up and pan one of these down. See what kind of gold we got in that. All right. A pretty good amount of black sands in that run there. All right, not bad. Not great, but I can see some colors in there. See that? There's a real fine one right there. And then you can see here there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then a couple larger ones. Fair amount of black sands in this material, and also quite a bit of lead shot from hunters. So there you go. We'll get that on camera here. A little bit of color from the dry washing. All right. More later.